Hi, everybody, and welcome back. I'm grateful to say that I'm feeling much better, and I really want to thank you for your advice and caring. Today, I also really want to speak to you guys about Harry and his father, and in a way, and by default, about his mother, Princess Diana. Ultimately, I want to talk to you about Charles, Harry, and Mahfouz bin Mahfouz, but I really need to explain some background for you to understand what angle I am coming from. We all know that Harry's memoir will be published sometime next year, and we all expect it to be one long woe is me fest with small let's dump on my family breaks in between. Now, like Harry's book, which he is co-authoring with some guy, I can't remember his name, and of course his wife, Meghan Markle, Prince Charles' authorized biography, The Prince of Wales, was written by a good friend of his, Jonathan Dimbleby, and it was said that Charles even turned over private letters and journals for the book and checked it for accuracy. However, the book turned out to be a very woeful, self justifying, self pitying story of a lonely childhood, a remote and demanding father, a marriage into which Charles was forced, and one that, by his account, fell apart despite his best efforts to cope with Diana's behavior. In other words, one big pity fest with small let's blame everyone else but myself breaks in between. Yes, my dear friends, although this book was written to salvage some of Charles's reputation after the TV interview in which he admitted that he was cheating with Camilla, it did nothing of the sort. As a matter of fact, some constitutional scholars were absolutely appalled and even suggested then, way back in 1994, that Parliament denied Charles succession to the throne in favor of his eldest son. Guys and girls, we are talking 27 years ago. And here we have it, history repeating itself, like father, like son. Like the fact that people are saying that Harry is trying to overshadow the Queen's Platinum Jubilee by having his book published in the same year, Charles's authorized biography was published on the eve of the Queen's visit to Russia. The book was so controversial and upsetting to courtiers and those loyal to the Queen and Prince Philip that it completely overshadowed the Queen's visit. As a matter of fact, the Daily Mirror described the book as Charles's crowning act of treachery. Charles was characterized as the prince who passes the buck. In his side of the story, he blames everybody else. The Guardian described the prince's story as suffocatingly self-absorbed and further said that Charles is a grey cloud of neurosis, knotted guilt, and lowering angst. Now, my dear friends, is that starting to sound familiar? Haven't we seen and experienced how neurotic Harry could be, calling the cops for non-existing and nameless paparazzi? His strange guilt over the death of his mother when he was only 12 years old, and which he now wants to heal by visiting this guilt on his wife, thinking he is protecting this woman when in fact he's playing right into her hands and making a fool of himself. And Harry's angst? Oh my word. Haven't we seen this and heard about it ad nauseum? Good golly, we even saw him tap himself in an effort to rid himself of all this angst or angst. Okay, guys, now because I'm trying to keep my videos shorter and more to the point, at least for the next few weeks, I want you to keep in mind the comparisons I've just made, as at some point in another video, we'll discuss this more in depth. But for now, allow me to jump ahead and talk about the royals and their relationship with Dr. Mahfouz bin Mahfouz. It has now come out that Harry met the dear doctor in 2013. Harry met Dr. Mahfouz in a pub in Chelsea, West London, after he gave £50,000 to Harry's charity, Centre Barley, in February 2013. A year later, after Charles had a meeting with Dr. Mahfouz, Harry joked with his father and asked whether his father had now beaten him to it and got money from Dr. Mahfouz. After that, Harry also posed for photographs with Dr. Mahfouz's sons, but apparently it came out via a royal intermediary that Mahfouz's family wanted to know what they were going to get for their money. According to our dear friend, Dimwit Harry, he then expressed concerns about the Saudis' motives and severed ties with him 6 years ago in 2015. But that regardless of those concerns, his father, Prince Charles, awarded Dr. bin Mahfouz a CBE. But guys, wait a minute or two. Centre Barley issued a statement of their own, and although they confirm that 1. They received $50,000 from Dr. bin Mahfouz in February 2013, and 2. That they severed ties with him in 2015, according to Centre Barley, Dr. Mahfouz made 2 donations to Centre Barley and not just one for £50,000. So, my friends, when did he make the second donation? After he met Harry in the pub or after Harry posed with his sons? Interesting question, don't you think? And I've just discovered that Dr. Mahfouz also made a £10,000 donation to, I think, Walking with the Afghans or Walking with the Veterans, some charity that Harry is also patron of or was patron of. So once again, we have Harry jumping to his own defense, which is not even necessary, as receiving donations from a wealthy donor is not illegal, and Harry did not award him a CBE, did he? So once again, like I said, Harry's jumping to his own defense, over eager to say, I had nothing to do with it, poor innocent me. And we have his father, Prince Charles, doing the exact same thing by proclaiming that he had no knowledge of Michael Fawcett's dealings and agreements with Dr. bin Mahfouz. Oh my gosh, I feel like hitting my forehead with an ice cream. Seriously, Charles? Really? Not even the dead people in the morgue believe you. Your son received donations from the man. He told you about it. You received donations from the man and even named a forest after this Dr. bin Mahfouz. Your son's charity received 2 donations from this man. Your charity received at least 2 donations from him. This man stayed overnight at Dumfries' house. Your son met him and his sons, and they were photographed together. You met Dr. Mahfouz at least 3 times that we know of, and was photographed with him on each one of these 3 occasions. Yet you, Charles, knew nothing about Michael Fawcett's agreements and dealings with Dr. bin Mahfouz. Michael Fawcett, your friend and someone who has worked for you for most of his adult life. No, my friends, like father, like son, and they are both bold-faced liars, willing to lie in order to escape taking responsibility for their actions. You see, both of them suffer from the very same condition, namely stunted emotional development and entitlement. And here is how it goes. Remember my story about my stepson? Well, I'm going to reenact it for you. Me to my 9-year-old stepson. Why are you hitting the dolls and breaking their necks? Him? I'm not. Me? What is that in your hand? Him? A doll with a broken neck. So, why? Him? I did not do anything. Question to Harry. Why did you lie about your father cutting you off? Him? I didn't. Question to Harry. But Prince Charles's published financials shows that he paid you a portion of 4.4 million. So why did you lie? Harry. I didn't. Question to Charles. Why are you lying about supporting Dr. Mahfouz's CBE and citizenship in exchange for money? Charles. I'm not. Question to Charles. But William Bordrick says you supported it 100%. So why are you lying? Charles. I'm not. I know nothing. Question. But you met the man at least 3 times. What did you talk about? Charles. I know nothing. Question to Charles. Why are you lying? Charles. I'm not. So, my dear friends, do you see what I'm getting at? Deny, 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 and no one steps up and holds them accountable. Now, my dear friends, I am not commending Harry for dumping his father under the bus. I think it's rotten and lower than snake shit. It is something you just do not do to your family, even if you do not like them at the time. But it is the perfect example of the immaturity of both Harry and his father Charles. I hate doing this as comparing one child to another, even if and when they are already adults, is not a good or healthy thing to do. But I want you to take a minute and compare William's Apple broadcast about walking and mental health to Harry's podcast and his Apple TV mental health talk with Oprah. Harry shows how immature he is, how he lacks a sense of responsibility, how it's all about him, whereas William shows that he had reasoned things out with himself. He shares responsibility and takes responsibility, and he shows empathy and compassion. I know Diana had her problems, and at some point we'll do a whole video about Diana. But for now, I'll just share my opinion and basic thoughts. Diana was a child when she met Charles. Diana was not even properly out of her teens when she married him and was not even settled in her marriage when she had her first child. Just listening to myself saying it, I find it scary and daunting. And yes, Diana struggled, but amid all her struggles and dramas, she maintained her sense of compassion and empathy for others, and eventually she admitted to and took responsibility for her failings. In my opinion, William takes after his mother far more than Harry does. William has inherited his mother's soul with his grandfather's common sense and his grandmother's sense of loyalty and duty. And like it happened in 1994, I sincerely hope that Parliament will see the dangers in having a weak king and his weak son in the line of succession, and that they, supported by the same scholars, will prevent Charles from becoming king in favor of his son William. Okay, my dear friends, this is just my opinion based on some research. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll be back soon with some more news and some more disturbing thoughts. Until then, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.